Hello, this is my Who Am I video for Critical Pedagogy 2, and I have always had a problem figuring out how to start projects, and I've heard from Julie Andrews that the very beginning is a very good place to start, so that's where we're going to start. I was born June 28th, 1984, in Champaign, Illinois, to my parents, well, my mother, Dawn Michelle Little at the time. Her name was Little. She was 15 when she had me, and so it's safe to say that she and I grew up together. My biological father, his name is Alfredo Garcia. He's Mexican, obviously, so I'm half Mexican and half Caucasian, Native American. I grew up on an Air Force base where my mom and stepdad met. We lived there until I'm not sure. I think I went to kindergarten in Naperville, Illinois, which is a suburb not too far south of Chicago. And then we moved halfway through kindergarten to Penfield, Illinois, which is in the middle of a cornfield somewhere, literally. And then after kindergarten, we moved to Gifford, Illinois, which was like 10 minutes away from Penfield, in another cornfield. I did first grade through the middle of fourth grade there. I don't remember ever having music programs in those classes, in that grade at Gifford. It was a very poor school. The school housed kindergarten through 8th grade, and then the high schoolers, the freshmen, 9th grade, would go either, depending on where they lived, they'd go to Armstrong High School, which was closer to Gifford, but then there was Rantoul High School, which was on the other side of Gifford. We moved to Paxton, Illinois, which is where I continued 4th grade and went to graduate from Paxton Buckley Loda High School in Paxton, Illinois. I graduated in 2002. So I went straight to college after high school. I went to Millikan University in Decatur in 2002, and I stayed there until December of 2002 when my parents divorced, my uncle passed away, and I just couldn't handle it. You know, 18 is supposed to be when you're able to handle things, but when situations such as life arise, it's harder. It's really a lot harder to focus on the things that you need to focus on and stay focused and maintain some sort of sanity away from your family. Even though things were going rough in my family, I felt like I had to be there for them. I'm the oldest of 4, so I felt like it was necessary for me to be there when I was 18. I'm 25 now. So, and I'll be 26 in June, which is not something I'm looking forward to. So Millikan didn't work out for me. So I decided I was going to take some time off. And I moved back home, and that didn't last for very long because I couldn't have the life that I wanted to have there. So I left. I forcefully left. I was asked to leave. I wasn't allowed to be there any longer. So I moved in with my aunt and her partner, and I lived there for a little while. And, you know, I worked. I had odd jobs that I did for people around Paxton. I worked at Walmart for a while, which was not fun. And then I got a job at Old Navy, working for Gap Incorporated, and that was a little bit better because I got to work more with customers, but still not what I wanted to do. I found this choir, Amasong. It was Champaign-Urbana's premier lesbian feminist choir. So, I mean, you didn't have to be a lesbian, you didn't have to be a feminist, you just had to be a woman who wanted to sing. So I sang with them. It was, I think, 2004, so a couple years after I left Millikan. And I was still not in school, but I sang with these women and learned a lot from them. And so we had a new director, and she wanted a directing intern, a conducting intern. And so I applied for the position and auditioned, and the choir liked me, and it was interesting because I was, let's see, how old was I? 20, perhaps? I'm pretty sure that's how old I was. And they were, a lot of them, you know, doctors in their 50s, or attorneys, or, you know, just older, established women. And I was scared, you know, my language would develop because I would learn things from the director. But then she got cancer, so it was really bad. So we had it was me and another, actually she's a graduate of Westminster Choir College, Heidi Weatherford. She's the one that introduced me to Westminster Choir College. she signed me up for a conducting class over the summer, and I went. I studied, and so I did that after Amasong, and I fell in love with the campus of Westminster Choir College, and decided that it was time for me to go back to school. So I applied at the community college in Champaign, Illinois, Parkland College, and I did really well. My GPA was high. It was fantastic. I got a job working in the English department, editing papers, and just kind of being the minister of morale, so to speak. I was the comic relief for the day, and I'm sure that's not hard to believe. So I went there for 2 years, and decided, maybe I should apply to Westminster and see what happens. So I did. Now here I am in Plainsboro, New Jersey, where I live with my partner, Elizabeth. She and I will have a blessing ceremony. We're going to be married in March next year, and we have a dog, Wilson, who is going to be 9 in September, and he's a yellow lab mix. He is pretty fabulous. I got him when he was 11 months old, so he's been kind of my rock throughout this process of being me. I currently teach 5-year-olds at Plainsboro First Presbyterian Church here. It's right down the street from me, actually. We learn Bible stories and we bring them to life with music, with songs, with play, situations. But there are some times we'll just go out to the park because they're so antsy and they just don't want to be inside anymore. So we'll go out and play. And there was one weekend when there was a tree knocked over because there was a really bad storm. And I asked the kids, "Oh my goodness, what happened?" And one of the kids, Garrett, he was like, "Oh, Miss Mimi, we had a storm. It's okay. It just fell over." And I was like, "Well, Garrett, who's responsible for storms?" And he looks right at me with the most serious face and he's like, "Oh, God knocked the tree down." It's just so funny. These kids are so literal in everything that they learn that I have to be really careful with what I say. And I have a couple of Indian students who their culture is completely different. So a lot of the things that I say I have to reword. But the music is something that we all speak. It makes teaching them a little easier because it's universal. Music is universal. And it's beautiful. As a teacher, I hope to become a teacher that can facilitate community rather than giving my students the answer. And I think that music opens that space where a student can be vulnerable to its teacher as well as the teacher being vulnerable to its student. And bridging the gap between the student and the teacher, I think, is very important. It's a very important aspect of my current pedagogy. Another aspect of teaching that I hope to bring to my classrooms will be understanding that I'm going to learn from the students as well as they're going to learn from me, and we can create that sort of community, that bond together through learning, through being critical with each other, through knowing that not everybody has the same ideas, that my thoughts are not their thoughts, and vice versa, and understanding that failure is okay. Mistakes are going to be made, and hopefully if I make mistakes, hopefully by saying, "Hey, I was wrong there, but what could I have done to do something to come with the right answer, to come up with a different answer?" And hopefully that'll open the door to shared responsibility of the classroom environment as a whole. So I hope from this video you were able to better understand me, and who I am and where I've come from by becoming a teacher and helping students to become who they want to be through music and with music, and allow a creative environment to happen within a classroom, and to not be overprotected by society's boundaries or what education's boundaries seem to be. Hope that you were able to gain a little insight on me and who I am as a person and who I hope to become as an educator. Thanks. Say goodbye, Wilson. Say goodbye.